Hello, I am Jan Alonola from the channel Aronora. I have right now the opportunity to interview the father of the first native Toki Pona speakers. Toki Pona is a minimalistic language only consisting of roughly 120 words. Let's start with the interview. Hello, Eric, right? May you introduce yourself?
Hello to you too. My Reddit username is Eric Sealander, but I'll keep my personal name private just to avoid any internet celebrity status.
When and what was your first contact with the language Toki Pona?
My first contact with Toki Pona was, it's hard to say. I believe I read about it once in a news article from The Atlantic, but I didn't learn it then. I started to learn it in my last year of university. I had taken 1 year of Hebrew and then 2 years of Arabic, and I was very, very tired of these difficult languages, but I wanted to still be learning a language, so I thought I'll take a break, do something fun. I remembered Toki Pona. I Googled it, and that was maybe 5 years ago now, and I still use it every day. I fell in love with the language. It's a huge part of my life.
How were and are you involved in the Toki Pona community?
My involvement with the Toki Pona community is mostly in helping new students. If anyone posts on Reddit, that's the Toki Pona group I'm most active in. If they post asking for help learning the language, I will offer to teach them free of charge. My profession is an English teacher, but I will always teach Toki Pona for free for anyone who wants it.
How fluently do you speak Toki Pona?
I would consider myself fluent in Toki Pona in the same way that a person who is on a desert island by himself for 5 years is still fluent in his native language. What I mean by that is I don't have a lot of constant input of the language, the same way that when I go out onto the street, I hear, in my situation, I hear Arabic all around me. I'm constantly getting Arabic input. When I come to my home, constantly getting English input. Um, I don't have that with Toki Pona. I would like that. It would be it would be very good for my listening practice. Listening is by far my weakest skill in Toki Pona, just because I don't get it 24 hours a day. But I would say that I am fluent. I produce it very easily and naturally, and I don't make more mistakes than I do in my native language.
Now to your kids. Could you tell me a bit about them? And especially, when did you decide to teach them Toki Pona?
Deciding to teach my children Toki Pona was not a very hard decision for me. I am a language teacher, I'm a language student. I have seen the research showing how important multilingualism is to a developing brain, and I was speaking this language. I had been speaking it for about 3 years at that point, and it was just the most natural thing in the world to continue speaking that to my children. Of course, I should say they are not only Toki Pona speakers. They are native English speakers as well. They speak English better than Toki Pona. They are living in the Middle East. They are receiving Arabic input. They are talking to people in Arabic. So it's not that I decided to teach them only Toki Pona, But in my point of view, why not? I speak a language. I can give this to my kids free of charge while they're still young. So I just started, and it's been my oldest just turned 3.
Does your whole family speak Toki Pona?
My wife understands a lot of Toki Pona. She has studied it in the past, but she does not use it as much. She wants to get fluent, but it's not been our priority right now. But she definitely understands a lot and will occasionally join us in our conversation.
Now, how do you teach your children?
For teaching my children, it's mostly just the same way you would teach a child any other language. Um, you can hold your 2 year old up by the window and point at the red car and the blue car and look at the bird, look at the trees, and you do the same thing in Tokipona. Now that my oldest is moving out of this stage, I am wanting to start doing preschool level, kindergarten level Tokipona training. So try to teach the writing system, try to really get some concepts down in a more preschool level way. And that will be my big project for this next year, 2021.
That sounds really cool, but tell us now how effective your teaching was. On what language level are your children now?
I do have 2 children. My youngest is only a year old, and he is not speaking much of anything right now. Um, he does like to growl at the cat and to just sometimes yell and scream. But he is not he's not speaking much more than a mama or something like that. My oldest, who is 3, um, I don't know if I can give her a level. She can produce new sentences to describe things around her. She can answer very common questions that I give her. How are you feeling? What are you doing? What are you looking at? What do you want? What do you want to eat? Are you hungry? She can answer all of these type of questions, and she can follow directions. Go to your room. Go to mom. Uh, Help me with this. Things like that. She is definitely much better in English. Naturally, she gets more English input than Toki Pona, but she understands just about anything I would tell to a 2 year old and expect them to understand. So she's 3, so maybe she's a 3 year old in English, a 2 year old in Toki Pona, something like that.
Are you using some non-pro words? For the listeners, non-pro words are words that are not in the official Toki Pona book.
There's a lot of words that Toki Pona does not have that we really need, like the difference between different types of candies, because toddlers are very picky. So we've had to make a few just compromises about using some proper nouns from English or Arabic to describe something. Um, we stay with the grammar pretty well, but a lot of times we do have to add in foreign nouns because in the end this is a child that I'm talking to, and I'm not going to cause a fight over the exact right way to say one type of candy when the other type of candy is clearly inferior in her mind.
Great. Do you have something else you want to talk about? Maybe a final message to the viewers and especially the Toki Pona speakers?
I would like to encourage any Toki Pona speakers out there to spread the language. It is a beautiful piece of art that we have the privilege to use, to speak, to write in. Don't be afraid to teach it to children, to use it in the classroom as a learning tool, as a pedagogical approach to teaching eventually other languages. It's a very wonderful thing we have, and I think we should be evangelistic about it. Share it with everyone that we can. It is it's a treasure to me, really. I love this language so so much. And to all the Tokipona speakers out there, we really need to get our own Congress. We that's I think the next step in the language is getting physical spaces where people can meet and converse and practice. My long-term goal is to own land in the countryside, have my own farm, my own animals, be away from the city. And if I do this and no one else has decided on a place for the Tokipona Congress, yeah, come to my farm. I'll host you all, and it'll be great. Um, yeah, thank you for being interested in this interview. I'm always happy to share more about Tokipona and the the new thing that I'm doing. I don't know that I've ever been the first to do anything, but I am the first to raise my children in Tokipona. It's good. It's exciting. It's a little difficult. Yeah, so yeah, it's thank you for the interview. It's always a pleasure talking about Tokipona. Mitawa. Pona tawa sina ali.
Goodbye and thank you for the interview, and to everyone who's speaking to Pona out there. Mi tawakin, ni wilekin Pona tawazina ale.